Hi everyone, I'm Charlotte from Giltedge Africa in Cape Town, South Africa. And I'll be talking to our industry partner, Barry Futter today. He is the founder and owner of AdventureWorks. Thanks for joining me today, Barry. Please, can you tell us more about AdventureWorks and how you started, and more specifically, what was your inspiration?
Hi, Charlotte, and thanks for making the time. Yes, we started AdventureWorks 20 years ago. The inspiration and the initial motivation came out of personal enthusiasm for doing really cool things, and I wanted to get people, tourists, groups to experience the Cape in a unique way, and go to the slightly off the beaten track places and do something that they went back home. That was really cool. You couldn't just buy that off the shelf. That was a very special experience and memory.
Fantastic. So just moving on, why did AdventureWorks decide to go specifically into the field of sustainability?
So our sort of ethos has always been trying to do something differently, trying to do something more experiential, and basically make it better, make it more of a memory, more of an experience. And it has always been a passion of mine. I've in one form or another always been involved with township communities, either through sport or just my personal hobbies and things. And it just so happened that we started taking people into townships and started doing township cycles instead of the standard walking tours, and that enabled us to get further and see places that your standard walking tours weren't going to. And in so doing, we came across creche after creche after creche that needed input and assistance. And we also started partnering with in other experiences with a lot of township entrepreneurs, from gumboot dancers to singers to musicians. And so we started tapping into the charities and organizations they were affiliated or involved with, and we started bringing incentive groups or to these organizations and giving them the experience of actually making a difference by getting involved for a day, meeting real people, and doing something that was going to make a long-term sustainable difference to that organization.
Fantastic. So just on that note, can you tell us more about your particular AdventureWorks project, which is called Corporate Conscience? Where are some of your projects based, and specifically how are they actually making a difference in people's lives?
Okay, yeah, sure. So we ran all our social responsibility under the AdventureWorks brand for many years. But it's been a learning process over the last 15 years of doing social responsibility projects. And I'll admit that we have made some mistakes along the way. But we've learned a lot from them. And then the key cornerstone to all our sustainability projects is sustainability and reliability. So I want, if a group gets involved and donates money or puts money towards a building project, I want them to come back in 2, 5, 8 years, whatever it may be, and still see that their difference is continuing to make a difference, their input. So we started the Corporate Conscience brand 2 years ago, mainly because we needed it to be more relevant to what that project and the ethos of that type of work, not under the adventure sort of experience. So we used to work with a lot of very grassroots charities and creches and things like that, but we'd find after 2 years or 3 years of making a big difference, invariably the organization would sort of fall apart and you wouldn't make that long-term difference. So now we put a huge amount of effort into doing the due diligence of the organizations that we work with, and we have a long-term goal. We make sure their finances are all in order, that the community is actively involved and benefiting from whatever work goes on there. So essentially now we're much more structured. We've got a whole project timeline, and your group can come and tap in at a level to add to the project's needs at that time. So we're in it for, so many groups will make a much bigger difference than rather lots of little differences, if I can put it like that.
Yeah, fantastic. And what are some of the major challenges that these projects are facing and need your assistance and our clients' assistance?
Okay, sure. So maybe I should just touch on a few of the projects. The kind of things that we wind up getting involved with is there's the obvious ones of painting and building. We're building houses now, we're building classrooms, but we do a lot of building drought-resistant gardens. We have to be very cognizant of water usage in Cape Town. We have dry summers. So we build gardens that you need to only water them once a week, and they will produce vegetables and food that go into the school feeding schemes. Generally, often, the meal that the kids get at school is their main meal for the day. And you can't learn without on a hungry stomach, on an empty stomach. So that is very important to ensure that the kids are getting fed so that they can learn. We also then teach the teachers about that, about planting and harvesting and recipes, and that's so that even the teachers are learning how to use these gardens for the long term and sustainably as well. Other things we also get involved in is putting down sports fields. Like take a dry, rocky, sandy, thorny area, and we'll turn it into a lush green artificial lawn sports field. And that just adds a massive sense of self-worth, of a cool place to play. It adds happiness to the kids. You can see it in their eyes when we've put in the jungle gyms, we've got the painted lines for the soccer fields. They feel like this is a special place, this is a happy place. So, and that has amazing spin-offs. By adding that to schools, those schools have then been able to rent out their sports fields to other establishments and have then been upgraded in the government's sort of priority schemes to receive more funding, because they are clearly being well managed and taking active steps to elevate themselves. So something as simple as putting a sports field in can have massive spin-offs, which, to tell you the honest truth, weren't actually intended, but have really elevated a school. Putting in water tanks, putting in solar panels, building houses. I mentioned before, we work also with some establishments that support women in abusive relationships, and we create safe havens for them. And now, because of the houses that we've put in there, they are able to stay in those properties for up to 6 months after the initial treatment, which essentially gives them a year to get their lives sorted away from an abusive partner. So it makes a massive difference. And this is all because of client input and financing.
Fantastic. So you're really you're making a huge difference in a lot of people's lives, very significantly. So just to check then, on some of those projects, how our guests can actively get involved, or what are the types of things that our guests could actually physically do on one of their visits in your corporate conscience program?
Yeah, so there's many different levels, from small groups, individuals that want to come and get involved. We have a process where you can come and get involved in the cooking and provide. You help the kitchen staff to provide lunch for the school for the day, or for a class. And another key component, which is it's important that I touch upon. I'm very cognizant of steering away from paternalism, sort of the wealthy Westerner giving to poor African. We always want to turn that on its head. It's very important that the tourist or the visitor learns something from the experience, that they are humbled by the experience. Otherwise, that in itself creates a context of dependence and is not sustainable in the long term. So we make sure that if you're getting involved, we will have people from the community teaching you as a visitor to do something, whether it's cooking one of their traditional meals, or how to plant a drought-resistant garden, or even if it's some soccer skills or some cultural skills, carrying items on your head, which is in the Xhosa and Zulu tradition is how they carry huge baskets on their head. We get you to try and learn that skill. So so to answer your question, I'm getting slightly diverted here. The kind of things they can do, a lot comes down to budget, size of group, and level of involvement you want to do. So on a very superficial level, as a company, you can donate and we will give you the project, and we'll liaise with you and work out what works with your company profile. And then we will make it happen, and you can come and view it and visit and see the difference and see the happiness on people's faces. Or you can come and get actively involved, which is where we really like groups to get involved. Is so there it could be doing paving, it could be in laying out the artificial lawn, it could be in building a jungle gym or a whole playground. But we definitely strive to show you the difference that you've made. It could be even building a house. So you will arrive and there'll be nothing or a basic structure, and you will leave and you will be able to see a massive difference.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So you really are making a huge difference. And I really like your each one, teach one ethos. I think that's a fantastic focus to have as well.
That's important,
so just checking out, what has been one of the most significant experiences for you at AdventureWorks in relation to your corporate conscience projects? Maybe what is the biggest difference you feel you've made or clients have made? What is one of the things that you remember from maybe one of the visits?
Yes, I'm going to touch on two big ones, and I have already kind of touched on them, but I think actually at the beginning of this year, very last minute, we had a group of 300 people who wanted to come out and build houses for the ladies in the abusive relationships. So I think it was the second week of the year, so all the builders are still on holiday and that, and we had about a week's notice, and we had to we were going to build four new tech houses. It's quite a new material that you can clad onto a wooden frame and get a house built very quickly. So within about 4 or 5 days, we had to build the framework, and there were multiple other projects on the go. We were painting the existing houses. We completely overhauled a playground, artificial lawn, rebuilt jungle gyms, completely overdid a creche at the establishment. So painted it, brought in educational tools, toys, and a huge amount of work. But yeah, so in 4 or 5 days, we built the framework of the houses, and then 300 people arrived, and We got them, we like to turn it into an event. We want it to be an experience. So we'll generally get the group there. They will hear a little bit, usually from myself, just giving a sort of context. Then we'll bring someone from the establishment to paint the picture of life in the township and life at the establishment and why what they're doing makes a big difference. Then they got stuck in. We got 300 people divided up into about 8 different projects, and we started painting and building and flat leveling earth and everything, building fences, putting up jungle gyms, everything like that, slides and all that. And by the end of the day, they started off with a little bit of chaos. I won't lie, 300 people all starting to building. You've got a lot of bosses who want to take charge, but we got the wheels turning, and by the end of the day, we had made a absolutely massive difference. Obviously, we still had to go back in and do all the plumbing and electrics and things like that at the houses, but the houses were ready and operational a few weeks after that, and actually got a note from them. Obviously, with the whole lockdown experience, ladies in abusive relationships were in a terrible predicament. To be locked into a house with that type of partner is not pleasant. So we were able to make a massive difference to 5 families' lives. I mean, it's not huge, but it made a massive difference to those people's lives, and that felt pretty good.
Yeah, that's amazing. So just having that workforce in terms of clients helping you really helped you build that little village almost for those 5 families. But as you say, it does make a massive difference. And then just moving on, how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected AdventureWorks?
Well, yeah, AdventureWorks, as with anyone in the tourism and events industry, it's really kind of brought things to a complete standstill. We have developed quite a number of virtual experiences, which are kind of rolling out now, and that's taken a bit of learning from our point as well, just to how to capture the virtual experience well. It's also been quite interesting. I think we've all been on a massive emotional roller coaster through this. So some of the things that I did was getting in touch with my clients, and we did actually completely complimentary breath hold sessions and laughter sessions, just to again bring that experience into the virtual space. And what both of those do is give you great tools that you can use to separate yourself from the anxiety, to actually control your emotions rather than be a passenger on the crazy train.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I'm sure that's really helped people just to have a bit of a break and, as you say, get away from all the craziness. And then, Barry, on a personal note, what have you missed most during this lockdown period?
It's quite funny what you start to realize about yourself. I'm sure we've all done a bit of introspection, but I think the thing that you kind of question, what am I doing, where am I going, and then you start to realize, actually I'm incredibly passionate about arranging awesome experiences. I love the organizational aspect of it, and I love I say selling, but it's more like the coming up with a concept and putting it to people, and people like, yes, we love it, let's go ahead, or no, that's not so nice, let's change something else.
Yeah, so that interaction with your clients, I'm sure, and just getting their ideas.
I love that interaction with your clients. Yeah. So not being able to do that has been quite a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much, Barry. It's been great chatting to you, and thanks for all your insight into your amazing corporate conscience project. And we hope that Giltedge will be able to support you going forward. So thank you very much.
Great. Charlotte, I want to just point out, you mentioned a few times that it's us making the difference, but I really want to get across that it really is the clients that make the difference. We are fortunate enough to channel it, but I am so thankful to the clients that come and do this. It really is a rewarding thing, and I really salute anyone who makes that part of their program, because it does make a big difference.
Fantastic. And
Thanks,
hopefully we'll have lots of interactions, and clients will go home with really happy memories and know that they have made a big difference in someone's life. So thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thanks, Charlotte.